Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar, What's New with Eddie Family Support, Working Together to Inform and Empower Families. My name is Paula Connelly. I'm one of your presenters along with my colleague, Lori Moore. We will be doing a brief presentation. We welcome if you enter questions into the chat. Just know that we will be answering both questions we receive in the chat box as well as the live questions at the end of our presentation. We're glad you're all here.
My name is Lori Moore. I work here at Ask Resource Center as the training coordinator and also with Paula as a coordinator on the Eddie project. I'm a former special ed teacher, but most importantly, my role is as mom. So thought I would just take you through. Here's our outcomes for today's webinar that we're hoping that when you leave today that you will know, be familiar with these topics. So we'll just give you a brief introduction to Ask. We will go over some of the options for family support, like what does family support look like when you refer a family to us? What kinds of things can they expect and the services they can look forward to? How easy it will be for you to make requests and referrals for family support. And then just briefly, some additional resources we'll want you to have.
So a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Paula Connelly. I am the mom of 4 children. The youngest of my children has a very rare inherited genetic syndrome called Neuhauser's. And the impact of that has been that he is not a verbal communicator. He had a lot of health problems when he was younger and has pretty significant delays across all his areas of development. So kind of feel like we've been there, probably done it, probably thought about it, kind of lived experience. I am one of the co-founders of Ask Resource Center along with another mom. And when we first started, we obviously were really small. We were working out of the kitchen. And today we're pleased that we have several federal grants that help support this work, and we weave these funds together so that we are there for families. We like to feel that we have that safety net. No matter what a family needs, somehow we're going to figure out how to be there and connect people to where they need to go. We might not do it directly, but we might find some way to connect them to a resource that is out there in the community. The grants that we have listed, I'll just briefly tell you a little bit about them so it gives you an overview of the areas we're working in. The first one, the Parent Training and Information Center, is often referred to as a PTI. It is a federal grant. Its main focus is in education, helping families understand their rights, responsibilities, and role when their child receives educational support through an individual with an individual education program or an IEP. So every state has a PTI, so that helps us make sure that we network with other states. We don't always have to reinvent the wheel. There are other similar programs in other states, and we share resources and trainings and just brainstorm together, which is really wonderful. We also have something known as the Family to Family Health Information Center, or the F2F project, that it does very similar things in the national level and the state level that PTI does, except its focus is mainly in the healthcare world. So helping families understand what formal resources are out there in terms of home and community-based waivers, but also some of those more informal types of programs and supports that parents can often weave together to help them. We also work on the State Professional Development Grant with the Iowa Department of Education. And obviously, because we're here today, we are also working with the Early Hearing and Detection and intervention grant as providing the family support piece for this grant.
In addition to the federal partners and projects that we have, I thought we would just quickly review the important Iowa stakeholders and projects that we work with very intentionally. And just we know that Iowa families, we're all here for them and that they will benefit from our cooperation. It really is a grassroots started and it leads to systems. Complementary services, when we work together, Iowa families benefit. And we know that together we're stronger and more sustainable. Some of our very important partners are Iowa School for the Deaf, Iowa Hands and Voices, Iowa's Deaf Blind Project, of course, the EDDI Advisory Committee, as well as the Learning Community, and Family to Family Iowa. I guess another one that we should say too, and Paula will touch on this, is the Parent to Parent USA partnership, or the membership that we have.
So you will hear us often talk about mentors. Why mentoring? What we have discovered, not only through the stories we hear from families and the evaluations that we receive, but also research base has shown that families who feel that they have that one-on-one mentoring, coaching, help, not only do they report it reduces their stress level, but we also hear anecdotal stories that they feel more confident about what they need to do, how to raise their family, where to go for information. You know, we often say our kids didn't come with a manual. I'm sure every parent has said, wow, I wish my child had come with a little book, and they don't. And we know from the stories we got that oftentimes one of the biggest helps is to be able to talk to another parent for that emotional support and just to be heard. You know, we often run across those parents, they just want to talk, and that's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to provide. Within the EDDI program, we have three distinct kind of mentors, and I'm going to touch a little bit on what those are. A parent mentor are parents who have gone through a training that we refer to parents as partners in mentoring. And in that training, we just do a lot of one-on-one basic information that research, again, has said this will enable and support someone in a mentoring coaching role to provide a quality experience for the person they're mentoring, but also for themselves. We do a lot of conversations about taking care of yourself and not being burnt out, those sorts of things. We also have a program, Deaf Mentors. Those are deaf individuals who have completed a totally different type of mentoring. It's a deaf mentor training curriculum. Those will be those individuals that go in the home and do home visits for children 0 through 3. That's essentially our formal funding is in that area. And finally, we have family resource partners. A family resource partner literally could be anyone. They're not required to have any life experience or what some people say is lived experience. They literally could be a teacher. They could be maybe someone who has a program expertise. And their role for us is to provide information or a resource to family on an as-need basis. So it wouldn't be a mentoring coaching type relationship where they might talk several times. It could be literally, I just called this person, I need this kind of information, it is shared, and then that might be the last conversation they have. So those are the different types of mentors we have available. I want to reassure you, you don't have to worry about what type of mentor. We can help families make that formal request once they call here.
a little bit more.
All right. The next slide talks a little bit more about the parent mentor, what exactly are available, what types of things do they talk to families about. This is not a counseling program. I want to make sure we say that. People are trained. If we feel for whatever reason a family might need more help and support than is within the boundaries of a parent mentor, we do have a practice conversation where we might bring that up with a family. Would never, of course, push it or request that they do it, but sometimes we do come across families and that conversation does happen.
The next,
go ahead.
Sorry. The next type of mentor, like Paula was talking about, is the Deaf Mentor Program. We thought we would just give you that's a brief snapshot of our first initial class training that we did. There were 15 Iowans that participated in the initial training. That's me in the back row between the two ladies with the blue shirts on. It was an exciting opportunity. It was 3 full days of training. We had trainers from Utah, the Sky High curriculum come. So there is, with that particular training, there was a focus on ASL, but also an important emphasis was placed on the importance of allowing a family the option to learn and grow and make their own choices and decide what's best for their family, and that will be respected. There was a group on our Find, which is findfamilies.org, that was created for the deaf mentors to share resources, events, or ideas, especially with this community. It was just a way in which they could communicate quickly with each other and the whole group, and sharing activity ideas maybe that they worked with a family, or realized, oh, this one worked really well with this baby, or the infant responded really well, so they could share those resources and ideas. To date, we've made 3 Deaf Mentor family matches in the state of Iowa, and there is 2 Deaf Mentor representatives on the EDI learning community. And I guess that's it. So this is, many of you are probably familiar with this flowchart of early interventions, but what I did is a modified version, as you can tell. I really just wanted we simplified it in order to illustrate that there is no wrong entry point for a referral to be made to family support. At any point in time, either yourself, or if the family comes to us directly, they are able to request or refer any, and as Paula said, if they aren't sure what type of support they are looking for, just call us. When in doubt, refer, or when in doubt, share our the email, the website, the telephone number, whatever. It's we just really want to emphasize, if there's one takeaway from today, how easy the referral process is for you. So we thought we would show you. It's as easy as click. So I will go actually to maybe.
Because it's technology.
I know, right?
One thing we want to make sure we say that mentoring is free of charge. All the services at Ask are. So there is not a cost to a family. And also, it's a good time to mention that a family could have both a deaf mentor as well as a parent-to-parent mentor. In fact, one of the matches we made included both. And again, that's something we figure out here at Ask. And since we've woven this network together, it doesn't matter if they have both types of mentors.
So we thought we would just take you, this is our askresource.org, the website that we have, and, oh, sorry. at top, if you go under projects and funding, scroll down and we will find the EDI. And then if you go into the mentor network, it's taken to. So let's just, and actually both of the forms for a deaf mentor and parent mentor are very similar. So just click on that. Fill in whatever information that you have or that you're aware of. If it's in not every spot or line is complete, that is no problem, because when Paula or I make the initial contact, we can fill in the necessary information. But if it's just at least the basics, that would be helpful. And then at the bottom, it shows you that you can either email this in, you can download, print it, fax, or just even pick up the phone and go old school and just call us. And we will go ahead and fill this out for you while either you or the family member is on the phone. So we try to really make it as easy and as user-friendly as possible. And now I want to get back into our...
I'm going to talk just a moment with a little more information about the Family Resource Partner. If you have a family that is looking for some sort of resource, and please, we consider you a family resource partner. You've probably all been at this for a period of time. You've worked with enough families that you learn lots of resources and questions and places that you can refer a family. However, if there is a question that you don't have an answer to, or you would just feel better if you referred them out, those are the kinds of things and resources that you could have them call, ask. Our information is in the very last slide. Again, there is no wrong door. And if you feel that the parent's a little overwhelmed and perhaps they're not able to call, again, a good practice is to say, hey, do I have your permission? I know these people. Could I call and tell them what you're looking for and give your name and number, and they'll give you a call back. We're happy to take those kinds of informal requests as well. If you just feel like, wow, maybe this family is just in a place they're never going to make that call, but they could use some help filling out that home and community-based waiver application, or apply for SSI, or whatever it is, or maybe they've got questions about a school or therapy or whatever, and you feel they're just not going to make that call. You can always do a request, do permission, and give us that request. We mentioned that we're obviously training a network statewide of volunteers that are willing to coach. We want them trained. We have some upcoming trainings and we wanted you to be aware of those. Those are February 17th. They're all Saturdays. We'll be in Decorah. And on April 7th, we'll be in West Des Moines. There is a link to have people who are interested click on that link and they can register for the program. We do ask that you've served in the capacity as a primary caregiver for a child, for the parent-to-parent. Obviously, as a deaf mentor, you have to be an individual who themselves is deaf or hard of hearing.
And the deaf mentors, one difference that I failed to mention earlier is they do go through an additional step of verification or background checking, just because they do enter the home and work directly with the children and the families. But that is one piece that the deaf mentors do that parent mentors do not necessarily need to do.
We talked a little bit about a national program that's known as Parent to Parent USA. They serve almost as a good housekeeping, if you would, seal of approval. We do work with that program. They are research, peer-reviewed based. They have components that we have to train on for parent mentors, and just a lot of, again, good resources. We are certified as one of their programs. We have standards we have to meet and report out on. So that is something we were very interested when we first thought. That mentoring obviously is a very natural outcome of a lot of the information and resources that we typically provide to a family, and we knew we wanted to do this, and we knew the gold standard, so to speak, was Parent to Parent USA. So that's the role we use. They're out there, and again, that network is great. Sometimes parents don't always call you just as a match to talk about their child's disability. They might have an unusual request or need an unusual resource. And it's great for me because having that network out there, I'm able to go to the network and make matches that may not be necessarily state-based. For instance, I mentioned my son has a very rare genetic syndrome. He's one of 26 individuals in the world, and my match didn't come out of Iowa, came internationally. And again, finding those resources, it's great to have those colleagues doing this work in other states.
And speaking of resources, I was just going to mention that it's really nice too, the partnerships that we have. So though our focus for the EDDI project is primarily 0 to 3, if there is a call or a request that comes in for a child that might be older, or once we start talking to a family, if they have other children that they need assistance with, maybe in the school age, that we have that all within our organization. So it's easily supported very quickly and smoothly. So here's our contact information. And again, I just would like to reiterate, because most of you are either audiologists or maybe deaf, hard of hearing itinerant teachers, you all would be fantastic resource partners. So if you are willing to and would like to be on our resource list, as if those questions come in that we get, and it would be like Paula said, it's not an ongoing long-term relationship with the family. It would be just a quick answer a couple questions or provide a couple resources, make a connection. We would love to hear from you and put you on our call list, our volunteer list.
And in the same note, if you have a family that you previously worked with or you think might make a great mentor, we would love it if you would tell them what we're doing and refer them to us, so I can hook them up and with our volunteer mentors and get them trained. We're always looking for recruits.
Okay, with that, I guess we will just check to see if there's any questions. If you have any questions, feel free to put those either in the chat box or questions. And if none come in, we will, within the next week, this webinar will be posted in case you know of someone that wasn't able to attend live. It will be available on Ask Resource site, as well as in the Family Support tab on the EDDI website. Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in. You have our contact information. If something comes up, please feel free to email or call. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.